You might be wondering, what are the options outside of clinical? Specifically, what can you do as a dietitian outside of acute care? Now, you might know that us dietitians are mainly familiar with clinical jobs. After all, according to statistics, over 60% of dietitians go into a clinical job. But I want to bring light to other opportunities, alternative career paths that dietitians can explore outside of clinical. Now, the first most popular option would be either a consultant or a private practice position. Now, in this context, you can work for others, meaning you're working for another private practice, or you're a consultant for an organization or a company, right? You do consulting work for somebody else. For example, I used to do consulting work for a company that did menu reviews for sustainability. That was one of the many jobs I had as a consultant dietitian. According to a 2021 survey and compensation guide conducted from the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, you might be surprised to hear that the range of salary was between $42,000 to $160,000 for consultant dietitians. Now, there's a lot of factors that can go into play because that is quite a large variability in salary. Pay scale shows a range of all the way from $44,000 a year annually to $97,000 a year annually, with the mid-range salary for dietitians being $63,000 a year. Now, that's exactly pretty similar to what the statistics of Bureau and Statistics have for their salary range for dietitians, as well as the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. So it's a pretty wide range, but you can see that the upper 10%, less than 10% are earning almost six figures. Lower 10% are earning around $44,000. Mid-level is around $65,000 in terms of pay for the average registered dietitian. Glassdoor has slight variability with their midline salaries at $64,000, which is $1,000 off from pay scale. And then Bureau of Labor and Statistics has that pretty same thing at $63,000 is what they have as the median salary for registered dietitians. So other options would be a sports dietitian. You might know one, you might be familiar with this area of specialty. According to 2020, Sports and Cardiovascular and Wellness Nutrition, the SCAN practice group survey conducted from the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, that the median annual report for a salary for sports dietitians is $72,000. In fact, $72.50, which is higher than the median salary for an average dietitian. So that's exciting. Other options in addition to a sports dietitian would be management. Now, you might be familiar with management because typically any role in a managerial position is an easy way to get promoted with more money and more responsibility. But I will say they're a lot harder to find, and I came to that realization in working clinical as well. So what Glassdoor says is that the average base pay for a management dietitian is $65,000. Which is not that high. That's about the average median salary for a dietitian across the board. Now, the salaries can range from $42,000 to $97,000 annually, depending on a lot of factors and experience. And then salary.com does say that a clinical manager can be $97,000 a year, but the range of salaries anywhere from $83,000 to $114,000 a year. And I'll say that I know one of those factors to consider would be how many people you're managing. How large is the budget? Are you managing what type of hospital? How well funded is that hospital, etc.? And if you look at the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics salary calculator, you can actually factor in those variables and it'll auto-populate what an average salary could be. So you can learn these based on the factors that seem so vague and ambiguous in the data I've collected. I will say my biggest qualm with management, because I was in a management position, I was a chief clinical manager of a nursing home for a while, that those jobs are hard to come by. And I wasn't paid very high in that job. I was only managing one other dietitian. And that actually ended up selling that particular nursing home. So if I were to be a manager in a place where I was managing a lot more people with a larger budget, maybe I could have negotiated a higher rate. But there aren't as many positions open because when dietitians get into a management position, they usually don't leave. And remember that there aren't that many dietitians in the United States. There are more dietitians that want jobs than are available for various hospitals and even private practice, etc. if you're looking for a job as a dietitian. So that's why you have to get creative and crafty in terms of what you're willing to do, per diem, food service, corporate, etc. So I hope that this was helpful in terms of what are some options. And if you are interested in learning about more options or secrets to starting your own practice, I want you to check out the free webinar that I've recorded for you that you can grab the link below and watch. We do have a membership option available that teaches you how to start and grow your private practice while you're already working a full-time job or a student or with other obligations. This membership was created with the intention of knowing that you're busy and you only have about an hour a week to build your practice. You've got templates, tools, accountability, live Q&A, a lot of options and resources from me and my team to support you in this journey. So if you check out the webinar, you'll learn about the secrets to starting in addition to access to my membership and what that looks like in terms of your support system to growing as a dietitian and negotiating a higher pay. Now, if you like this video, I want you to watch this next video on screen. I'll see you next week.